Yo, what's going on, guys? Mr. Bird here. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the new unit in Season 2, and that is the Chimera. Before we can decide what is the best deck for Chimera, we have to determine what role does it actually play in each of our decks. And I'm going to be going through the three main roles that I think it can fit into your decks. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, if any of you guys are still looking for a guild, feel free to join one of our sub-guilds. The link is in the description below. Most of our sub-guilds have already cleared 15,000 out of the 30,000 guild chests. The very first archetype that I'm going to go through is the Chimera cycle deck. A lot of my leaders are actually above 3,000, so it's not really good for testing decks. I have to use something below 3,000, and I've used Sneed in this case. So the purpose of the cycle deck is so that the Chimera itself is the win condition. You want to play it as often as you can, similar to a Hogger cycle deck. In this case, for demonstration purposes, you can. I'm not going to actually use the Sneed at all in this matchup. But you guys can fit the Chimera into any other leader of your choice, and yeah, you can definitely use the leader if you want. But for me, I just want to showcase the Chimera itself. The deck that I come across here is that Holy Nova to keep our Chimera healthy. There's always going to be Save Palette and Well Pegs and other spells in this meta, so if you're going to use Chimera and make sure it gets to the tower, you need it to be healthy. So Holy Nova is to bait out save pilots. You've got the Frost Shaman with the armor talent. So the biggest reason for this is obviously the healing, but also the fact that armor will halve all the physical damage. One of the common anti-air counters like Murlocs, Huntress, and Spear Troll, which are all very common in this meta. So giving the armor to the Chimera will help its survivability. The other two units here, we've got Quillbore. There's no chests in this map, Arathi Basin, so you don't need the tunnel vision anymore. Everyone should be running the Bristleback talent. And I'm using Coming In Hot. The main reason why I'm using Coming In Hot is because the burn actually does quite a lot of damage, and it's fast, and it's really good against Dark Iron Miner. The last unit here, I've got the Prowler, so on the Prowl as well. It's another unit to counter the Dark Miner. I haven't been using a lot of Dark Iron Miner in this map. A lot of people has. I actually think you don't need it, or it's not as good as we initially thought. Which I'll do a separate video about the map breakdown in the coming days. Lastly, I've got two talents here unlocked. I don't have the health talent. It's a bit hard to see because it doesn't have animation anyway. I will be using the Corrosive Breath for the cycle deck. I did pre-record my gameplays this time because I wasn't home. So I'll be adding in my commentary as we go. So yeah, let's jump into our first game. The first game here, we've got a Chalga matchup. So it's actually in our favor with matchup advantage because Chalga doesn't attack air units, so our Chimera's got one less thing to deal with. Yeah, just trying to get back to my Chimera because I didn't have it in my opening hand. I put a wolf down because I was kind of anticipating the Dark Iron Miner, and yeah, and as you see it, they do have Dark Iron Miner. A lot of people do, but unfortunately got blocked by the a lot of his spam units, or rather, yeah, he kind of went all in with the Chalga ability. Here, it's a really good demonstration about how strong the control aspect of Chimera is. I'm not sure if it's just naturally like that, or if the Corrosive Breath did all the work, but it's very strong. It took out Ogre and Abomination. Yeah, I mean, it was going to be difficult because he has the Ogre, and it's quite a good counter, so I have to sort of make sure, he either overcommits or put it into another lane before we can go full in with Chimera. I don't think he has any physical anti-air in this matchup, but I think the healing is also, I mean, the healing is still good. Even if the armor is not so useful in this matchup. The one thing I find it a bit weird is that once the Chimera actually targets the tower, I've had instances where they put down a Murloc or a Griffin next to my Chimera, and my Chimera will just turn around and attack those units as they spawn. So that's an interesting mechanic to look out for. I think in that case, yeah, it didn't, I don't think it had enough time to turn around and attack the Ogre, but I felt like it was about to, but it just died too quickly. Yeah, Holy Nova is the great safe pilot bait. I mean, at this stage, everyone's kind of testing the waters with, you know, how to best counter Chimera. So a lot of people, they just can't help themselves, you know, to safe pilot as an automatic response. Here we've got a Chimera on the other end as well. He has a really heavy deck. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's trying out different Chugga abilities as well. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to count his cycle and gold because of the random ability. So I just have to do a better job with make sure we play good defense, because currently we're in the damage lead. It doesn't look like he has a spell. Yeah, so his Ogre was just used, so I think we definitely have a quicker cycle. Eventually he needs to cough up the 5 or more gold cost for all his heavy units. Before you know it, it's overtime. Oh, he does have Blizzard. Okay, I forgot about that. But I think he should have played it early on. Yeah, there's many instances where he could have Blizzard my Chimera at spawn or hit my side tower at the very least. So here we've got our push going. We've got a couple of Chimeras stacking. The Quillball, the only use for the Quillball here is to tank the side tower on offense. As you can see, the burn is quite substantial, even to air units. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I feel like it's going to be a close game coming down to the last 10 seconds anyway. So I'm just trying to get as much chip damage as we can. Yeah, the poison splashed. I feel like the poison's really good against armor units and tanks in general. Look at the Abomination's health go down. And yeah, that's our first game. And here we have our second Chimera deck, which is the support deck. So in this deck, the role of the Chimera is to support our push. I've put in the Warsong Grunts because I think in a smaller map, the dual lane pressure will be great. You'll see me split the Warsong Grunts as our main offense. And yeah, you can support it with a Spear Troll on one lane, Chimera on the other lane. And yeah, it'll just apply both lane pressures. But you guys can, you know, if you don't, I kind of picked this leader because it's under 3,000, but you can have this kind of combo with Tyrion Footman as well. Just quickly going through the talents, I won't spend too long. I've got the Blood Pack here. I actually don't have all my preferred talents on this deck. Ideally, I would have chosen the command. I wanted to test the command because Chimera is a beast unit and it'll get 30% additional damage. As a support unit, I'm using the Frost Shock in this one, but you know, I think the additional health can be justified as well. These two units are the same. Defiance Bandit, I don't have the right talent. I've only got the Picklock, but there's no chests on this map. It's really good to counter range units such as, you know, Huntress and Spear Troll when they get closer. The ideal talent that you have on this map will be Last Resort. Yeah, so it just gives extra stun and yeah, keep the targets in their place. Spear Troll, I think you guys all know, we're doing the Big Bad Voodoo for the Dragon Towers. Yeah, I'm actually a bit surprised about the average cost being 3.4. I mean, looking at my leader, the Grunt and the Chimera, we've got 3 5 gold cost units. But yeah, surprisingly, it's still 3.4. And again, you don't need the Dark Iron Miner or to be able to prevail in this kind of matchup. So in this matchup, we're versing a Baron. The dual lane actually comes in quite handy because yeah, if you just ignore the ice mages on your main tower, they'll eventually chip it down because dragon towers are just doesn't do anything to the ice mages. Yeah, everyone's opening players pretty much go for the middle mines, but I personally don't think it's that important or good even. So I just let him take 2 gold, it's fine. We've got a really good defensive deck. I mean, Spear Troll, Karen, Chimera, we can get so much defensive value if we play our units correctly. Yeah, so here I'm not really overcommitting. I'm just letting it go because our side tower is not really in the threat of getting lost. And I'll just come in. I actually went for the denial. I'm not sure if that was the best play. Oh yeah, I messed up the core board timing, so the Baron got a couple of hits on. Normally I can use Quillbore and Save Pilot to kill the Dark Iron Miner, but in this deck in particular, I didn't want to do that. Yeah, I'd rather just let my Warsong Grunts do the job with the push. If he had Necromancer in this matchup, it'll be a lot harder, but he doesn't. So even with Baron, as long as he doesn't have Necromancer, I think, yeah, we have a great chance. Actually, I'm not quite sure. I think even with Necromancer, the Karen stun ability as well as the Chimera AoE splash would still do quite a good job against Necromancer. But we'll find out on another day. So yeah, slow and steady. It depends if they have a big spell to get damage. If not, on this map, you just bait out the Save Pilot. They can't really spawn behind the tower like the previous map, so there's a limited things they can do with unbound units. Yeah, just gradually with dual lane pressures, you kind of get on the tower through positive gold trades. I usually try to avoid the Huntress, so wherever he's placing the Huntress, I'm putting my Chimera in the other lane, and I'm trying to use my Karen to counter his Huntress. Yeah, I'm trying to mix it up a bit, going for his side tower. One of the common mistakes people tend to do is just focus on one lane and they just direct their troops through the middle path. Yeah, sometimes you got to mix it up and apply some side tower pressure as well. Yeah, it kind of made him forced out an error because he played his Banshee for no reason, I think. Yeah, there's no way he would have played a Banshee normally. Yeah, so with Huntress, the way he's playing Huntress, I don't agree with that. You can't just cycle at the back. You need to make sure... Huntress is, again, a control unit. It's very similar to the role of the Chimera. You can't just play it empty-handed like this, because I can just counter it with my Karen. So he decided to mix it up and go for my side tower as well. But yeah, he had a Ghoul and a Baron, and nothing hits air, so my Chimera just cleaned them up completely. Baron's armored, so the poison on the Chimera just absolutely shreds them. Here is interesting. I wasn't sure if the Chimera's double shot will kill the Banshee before it gets possessed, but unfortunately it still got possessed. My Spear Troll is really good at NTS, so you guys can see the interaction of Spear Troll against Chimera. Yeah, in double time, I need to apply pressure to the main tower, so that's why in double time you don't need to split your Warsong Grunts anymore. Just go single lane. But you do need to make sure you have something to counter the skeleton mages. Again, he plays the Huntress, so I just play my Karen in response to that. Yeah, you just make sure you stop the Huntress a bit further away from the tower so it doesn't accidentally splash onto the tower. That's very important. But yeah, I mean, neither of us can break through at this point because he's got his skeleton mages and I've got my good units. So last hurrah, going with my Save Pilot and Quillbore, and I actually got a hit on the tower, but I think I would have won even without it. And here we have our last deck, which is the control deck. The Chimera role here is the control unit. For those of you guys that's not sure what a control unit does, it's usually something that controls the enemy push. I don't even know if I can explain it correctly, but it's kind of like a huntress or a Jaina or a pyromancer. It's usually a range unit with crowd control abilities so that you can stop enemy push and start a counter push. Yeah, so in this I've picked Hogger here, but you guys can obviously apply to any other leader. Hogger is the main win condition here because of the cycle nature, but the Chimera itself, you ideally don't play it unless it's in response to something. So you need to make sure you get at least some sort of positive trade before you play it. Yeah, so just quickly going through the decks, I've got some similar stuff here. You guys already know what talents I'm running on these. The Griffin, I'm running the Mighty Throw because of the Dragon Towers. It's also a good save pilot bait, so they either have to save pilot my save pilot, or the Griffin, or the Chimera. So if they save pilot one of the other two, then the Chimera tends to, can't be stopped unless they have some other anti-air. The Arcane Blast is there for cycling, and it's also, I've did a separate video on why the Arcane Blast is really good. But yeah, it's here to just, also act as a tiebreaker to chip down the tower as well if the game gets close. So in here we have a Maiev matchup. It's actually a really favorable matchup for Hogger because Hogger's AoE attack sometimes just accidentally cleaves all the unbound units and reveals them out of the stealth. But we also have the Arcane Blast for the stealth purposes, and as you guys will see later on in the game. So yeah, opening play, nothing wrong with cycling a Hogger, because I anticipate they definitely have Dark Iron Miner if they're running Maiev. Even if they're not running Maiev, a lot of people have Dark Iron Miner. He kind of, I don't know why he went with that, try to stop my Hogger, but I was anticipating him to save pilot or do something. So yeah, I had my fingers on it, ready to go. I was using the fast talent anyway, so I didn't really need that fast of a reaction. So now he goes in with Dark Iron Miner. And yeah, I prefer to stop the opponent Dark Iron Miner rather than use my own. Because if I use my own, I'm responsible for protecting it too. And sometimes you can overprotect it, and it's not always good. In fact, for me, I think it's more bad than good. Coilball and Save Pilot is so good at countering Dark Iron Miner, and I don't even need to have a Dark Iron Miner. If I have lane control, my Coilball actually walks and turns left, as you guys can see. So he has Blizzard, which is very interesting for a Maiev deck. I guess it is the new thing for this map. A lot of people I've seen are running Blizzard. So yeah, I've always got my units ready just to protect my miner and things like that, because with Unbound decks, they can drop it anywhere and they will likely, try to snipe your units wherever they can. The Corporal with the Bristleback actually fully counters the Dark Iron Miner unless they have Fury. Yeah, so he has that, so Arcane Blast comes in handy right there, as you guys can see. Unfortunately, the Chimera died anyway, but our miner got all the gold on the map. I probably should have waited a bit or try to aim it so that it kills the Maiev as well. But anyway, our save pilot died, but it's still not a bad trade for us. As you guys can see, it's a bit boring because I'm not really playing the Chimera in this matchup. There's no reason to play it. And that's precisely the control unit function. It's actually good not to play a control unit. It means you're not really being pressured on defense. Yeah, here I've got two. He went with his own Dark Iron Miner, but yeah, I just went with my best options and I got all the gold that I need to. At this point, there's no way he can break through. He doesn't have a win condition in his deck, from what I can see. On this map, the Unbound is super, super bad because you can't spawn behind the tower. I mean, at this point, the only chance he has is the spell cycle. I've got a response for every unit in his deck. So yeah, it's pretty boring, isn't it? I don't think I've played my Chimera a single time, but against, yeah, if it was some other deck and there's an enemy push coming, that's when you use your Chimera to clean up the enemy push and then start a counter attack. I think at this game he's giving me the good game already, so yeah, I think that's gonna be it. And yeah, there you have it. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you all found that useful. I will be back very soon with the next one. Bye.